And now imagine for a moment that we are live on a different platform simultaneously.
Right. And Theodore says that they're early. There's something wrong with the Matrix, but it seems like they arrived precisely when they meant to.
That's correct.
Janet, do not adjust your screens for this pre-show. There are 3 of us.
That's right.
Hi, Erin.
If you all think that this episode will be normal, I regret to inform you that when Erin comes to visit, the checklist begins with remove all hinges. You will not need them. And then goes from delighted. There. So, I think Erin, I think you might have been our first guest.
It was early. It was early.
Yeah, it was very early. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
chaos energy.
It is. It's great. It's not in your professional capacity. It's great to hang out with you and like learn about like what's going on in let's see now, movies and science and Star Trek and movie production, and your towering pile of hats grows ever larger.
Which we'll go over. We'll do a proper intro for you, Erin, when the show starts. This, of course, is not the show.
Right. This is just a tribute. But getting to hang out with Erin as a person, delightfully unhinged. It's great. It's so good. The Blanker of Black Hole video. God. Oh God, I don't want to look at the publish date for that because that's so long ago.
It was a bit.
It was so long ago, but honestly, I think that might be the greatest piece of cinema I've ever been a part of.
Those were so fun.
Yeah, exactly. The baseline is 0 hinges. Erin moves us to negative hinges. You are correct, Nova. That is correct. Yeah.
Oh, good. We have a hype train on Twitch. Choo choo. All the hype train does, Erin, is keeps the show from starting and me from having my coffee. That's its only, and it helps support the channel.
Yes, Maz. It was totally last month. Definitely not. Thunder put pinned an announcement on Twitch that it was 4 years ago. First off, how dare you? Second off, well done. Yeah.
If this gray beard could talk.
I don't think I had any gray in my beard. Now I've got like good, or had 4 years ago, and now I've got like the big gray streaks.
Yeah, time comes for us all in a weird flat circle. The Jeremy Bearimy of our lives.
It's true. And actually, Annie right now is using time to deny me my caffeine, which is fine because it's helpful. But man. It's been a long weekend.
Okay, so we have I don't know if you remember this, but so we named our chats, right? So Twitch chat is Brad because they fell in love with a shirt that says "Kiss me, I'm Brad," and we decided that therefore their name must be Brad. Weirdly, I promise you, Twitch chat is not named for the Rocky Horror character Brad. However, Janet, which is YouTube, is named for Rocky Horror. Because we gave them a choice of what their name was going to be, and they picked Janet. Like, we were like, all right, here's, you get to pick your name, put it in the comments, top upvoted thing is what we call YouTube chat. And they were like, we're Janet. Like, okay, great.
Perfect.
Thanks. Awesome.
And of course, Nebula, who is Rocky, because there are no comments over there, and they are silent until they message us on Blue Sky, and then they're not.
Right, exactly.
That's really good.
They get one more. They get a song and dance number once a year. It's very important. Right. Yeah.
What else is going on? What else is pre-show content for the next 3 minutes? Next 3 minutes of uncaffeinated.
There's this. There's just
the dancing crab. Great, love it.
Which does, by the way, per my request to our artist, sync up with Crab Rave. It is in fact just an artist's rendering of the Crab Rave crab in time. So
perfect.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
There will be times where that is very important, I'm sure.
Perfect. I have a black cat too.
Yeah?
Did you know?
Oh, that's right.
Cat?
They don't know.
Yeah, Toothless is our little black cat, and you may get a glimpse of her as she jumps up behind me to be my lumbar support. And I wish that I could show you, because all I feel is that she jumps up and then just sits behind me for like hours. But she like adjusts. And one time I had a fellow friend, Jesse Gender, was over here, and we were like in meat space together, and Jesse looked over at me and busted out laughing because apparently Toothless just sits like a human behind me. Like she adjusts and then sticks her legs and her hands out, and like so now I've noticed the paws are all in the same direction, and I really wish I could show you when she does it, but it's like too far down.
That's fair.
Weird,
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
you may see a little tail come up and adjust.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Annie wants to know, did YouTube get its emotes? Yes, you did. You now have the maximum number of emotes that is permissible for the current number of members. If you'd like more emotes, there need to be more members. That's just how that works, according to YouTube. I believe in 5 more members, we get another one, I believe.
Who knows?
I would check. By the way, did you see that they are doing oh God, we didn't even get to talk about this when I saw it. They're doing a shot-for-shot live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm okay with the live-action bit, but why are you doing a shot-for-shot? Like...
yeah.
Because that's...
Like,
by the way,
if I wanted to watch it, I would watch the movie.
Right.
Like...
A shot-for-shot has never done well because it fundamentally misses the point.
Yeah, of an adaptation or a remake.
Yeah.
Well, right, and like misses the point that like all shots should be dictated by the medium and intent, and when you just copy those without those things, it's like all of those games that were like, we're gonna make combat really hard and then give you flasks because we want to be like Dark Souls, completely missing why and how Dark Souls combat is hard. Like Dark Souls combat is perfectly fair. There are games that aren't perfectly fair that give you flasks and are like, we're like Dark Souls. And we're like, no, you're not. Stop. Do better. Thank you.
Okay. The hype train has completed. We have slain it once again.
All right. I gotta thank some people. Then we'll go to Black. Then we'll do the thing. Yes, Red, this is exactly what I'm thinking of. The shop.
No, I already did that one.
Listen, I was busy paying attention to all of the technology on all of the screens all around me. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Enhance.
You have to do it with 3 fingers. Enhance.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. Tom Cruise. All right, great. We got a thing.
Enhance.
No, unenhance.
I'm gonna
back down.
I'm gonna unenhance, but I'm gonna enhance for every person that you name. Pre-show, Will. Pre-show.
Not Cromwell, thank you so much for the 61 months. Hippie for the gift sub to Dr. Aaron. Neo Wizmaster for the 89 months at tier 3. Kyrian for biddies. Raymond for gifting a sub to RC Fox. Nova Fire for gifting a sub to Crimson Canada. Dolphin Supreme for 100 bits. Copper Chef for 100 bits. Raymond for 100 bits. Sasquatch for 100 bits. Hippie for 100 bits. Luna for 100 bits. Roller for 100 bits. And that's the end of the hype train.
Okay.
Thank God.
Woo, that was getting close. That was...
Pay no attention to the streamer behind the camera.
All right.
Also, can we just establish that Jeff Goldblum is the best Wizard of Oz?
It was pretty good.
And he's just like, I'm so glad that they're embracing making him evil. Like,
yeah,
correct energy.
Yeah.
Well, right, like both there and in Chaos, which I'm so annoyed there's not going to be the season 2. Like, we don't need it, but it would have been good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Well, should we start this show? The show that we have not started yet. Let us remind you once more time.
Yeah, that's right. This is not the show. This is just preparation. This is to prepare you so that when this is like an inoculation. Right. If we were to do the real show right away, your mind would be blown, and we don't want to be responsible for that. So
not after last time.
Right. Yeah. It took forever to clean up the mess.
I still hear the screaming, Will.
It's true. And the smell never really goes away.
But no, it's going to be a great, happy show. You're all safe.
There definitely won't be any transporter accidents.
No.
All right.
All right. For those of you who may be new, we're going to explain this real quick. We're going to go to black, then we're going to come back, then we're going to start the proper show with intros and everything else to record it for our friends over at Nebula. So when this goes to black, do not panic. We'll be right back. Okay? Cool, great, awesome. Everyone, you may now have a small recreational, non-necessary panic as a treat. As a treat. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Erin.
Good morning, Will.
And good morning to all of you.
Welcome to Games for Breakfast, the only internet show. We talk about this week's gaming and tech news, but that also we have enlarged the table. Pray we don't enlarge it further. We are joined by our wonderful friend, Dr. Erin Macdonald. How are you? That's right, we did it. We did it not only with the power of friendship, but with the power of 3 gaming chairs at a breakfast nook.
Yes, it is delightful. I am thrilled to be back. Thank you for making space for me to wedge myself in between you all.
Yeah.
Erin, for those who are not familiar with the insane amount of amazing things that you do,
Thanks.
How would you, in 2,000 words or less, describe your personal and professional life?
So I started out as an astrophysicist. I got my PhD in gravitational waves and general relativity. Then I moved into television, and I now work as the science advisor for the Star Trek franchise, which I've been doing I'm almost at 6 years now, which is crazy. And I've been working on all of the shows since season 3 of Discovery. They turned me into a character on Star Trek. So Lieutenant Commander Dr. Erin Macdonald of Starfleet Academy is here with you. And on top of that, I have moved into writing, particularly screenwriting. And I also produce short films. And some people might recognize my name from producing Jesse Gender's film with Nebula called Identities. I was the lead producer on that. So yeah. Fun times.
Yeah, hell yeah. If you have not checked out Identities by this point, Nebula fam, please go do so. And if not, there sure are codes out there that you can find to nebula.tv/extra credits or nebula.tv/Jesse Gender, depending on what you're going there for, to go check that out and all the good stuff over there.
And of course, if you're watching this on Nebula, you can go watch Identities when you're done with this, or you can pause right now, go watch Identities, and then come back and watch the rest of it. Yeah, right. Just pause. Just put a pin in it, and then come back.
But if you're watching live, you can't pause. We don't want you to leave, but you can't pause it. I mean, you can pause it, but then it won't be live anymore.
Yeah.
Erin, you're a scientist. How would time work in that particular? No? Is that
no, just don't. Don't mess with time. You're going to get a headache. It's not fun. Yeah. The endless spiral of doom will come for you eventually.
I feel like the number one thing that people get twisted when we talk about like time travel is that the personal frame of reference remains constant, and everyone seems to be like, no, it'll just no. You get to keep your frame of reference, and everything else changes, but you experience time the same way always. And that is the part that people do not like when you get to it.
Nope, not so much. Breaks brains, cry in the shower. It's a little too early for that. So.
Erin has been on before in the past numerous times. We've hung out with Erin a lot. We love hanging out with Erin. It's one of our
Bridge Crew VR.
Yeah. We've done
escape rooms.
Yeah, we did escape rooms. We've done all kinds of stuff.
What's the other game that you turned us on to, Erin?
The one with the hexes.
Oh, For the King.
For the King?
For the King. Yep.
That was fun. Yep, that was good.
Yeah.
Many times. Many good times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than those games, this year, Erin, just so we can get some video game vibes from you here, what has been sort of the favorite game you've played so far this year?
So I mostly play single player RPGs, but I also love management games.
Sure.
And my favorite management sort of world is the 2 Point, 2 Point Museum, 2 Point Campus, and 2 Point Hospital. And 2 Point Museum was just released in March, so I've been putting a lot of hours into that. You basically run museums. You build them. The mechanics are a little bit different because you have to fly out and like send your crew on expeditions to go get like stuff and bring it back so you can display it in your museum, so you're not just like paying cash for that. Like you have to spend money, and occasionally your explorers don't make it back, and then I'm riddled with guilt when I've sent them on a dangerous expedition and they're like, they're not coming home. I'm like, oh no. But I just got 2 stars on my space museum this weekend, so that was exciting.
Okay.
So then I took a break and I finally started playing Blueprints, which is a new fun game that people should check out.
Yeah, by new fun game, you mean a great way to liquefy your brain.
So much liquefying, and so addictive. And I'm not usually a roguelike gamer, but I can be sucked into them. And because I kind of hit a wall with Balatro, I was like, I need a new hyperfixation roguelike game.
Yeah.
So
and Blueprints
is one of them.
Is definitely that. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, we're on a breakfast show. We have to ask. What's your favorite?
We are on a breakfast show.
Breakfast food.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite breakfast food.
Oh, favorite. If I'm being indulgent, chicken and waffles. That's my go-to. I love sweet and savory, spicy and sweet. All good. That's my go-to. That's my go-to big one. The one I mostly have is oatmeal because my Scottish roots refuse to die.
There you go.
So yes, oats will sustain me.
I have before we actually get into the stories, I have one silly Star Trek question for you. And it has to do with, okay, so my partner Jamie got this bath mat in our bathroom. And I used to have like a big floofy one, right? That like had, whatever. But, as time goes on, bath mats get when it's gross and whatever. The one I have is like now it's a stone one that like absorbs water or whatever. She gave me the name of it. Oh God, she's coming in here. Oh God, she's coming in.
Okay. It's called diatomite. It's a diatomite bath mat. It's antimicrobial. It absorbs water. I assumed Matt would fucking love. Oh, excuse me. Would really like this thing, and he hates it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the truth. All that's the truth. The swearing included.
By the way, that's the best Jamie break-in I think we've ever had.
She heard me talking. She's just standing there now.
I want to know.
Okay. But my question is, because on Star Trek, with all of this going on Star Trek, they use sonic showers, correct?
Yes.
Do they use bath mats on Star Trek?
No, because you're not wet. That's the best explanation I can come up with. So actually, weirdly, the best visual we've given on Star Trek for how sonic showers work was in Lower Decks. Because there's one point where one of the guys walks in and they're trying to be like, I'm better than you, I'm stronger than you, and they start cranking up the frequencies of the sonic showers. Right. And so it's the idea that pulses of sound are basically expelling outer layers from your body is the general idea, and that's the limit of science I'm going to get into how sonic showers
Well, no, that's great. So here's the deal. I think actually Johansson just kind of nailed it right here. You send a Roomba over the floor after a sonic shower. That's sort of the equivalent of what a bath mat would do, considering there's no liquid to soak up or whatever. If it's shaking the dirt off you, the dirt does have to go somewhere. and therefore some sort of Roomba would happen to go about it. Yeah.
But the purpose of a bath mat is not to pick up all the grime that has fallen off of you during a shower. It's to absorb the residual clean, hopefully, water that is still clinging to your skin as you get out of the shower.
I may be using a bath mat incorrectly. If you want to talk about your bath mat really quick, because I'm fascinated by this. So it absorbs water. So it does like the weird thing where it kind of like you feel a little.
Can you go grab the bath mat?
Suctioning to it.
Hold on. Yeah, because it's a giant piece of rock.
So is it though? Because geologists have a thing about licking rocks to figure out if they're a rock.
I'm not licking it. My feet have been on it too much.
No. I'm aware, but so geologists lick rocks to figure out if it's a fossil or not. Because if it's a fossil, it'll stick to your tongue because it absorbs the water, which is exactly what that bath mat is doing. Which makes me think it's actually fossil. And sure enough, I looked it up, and it's primarily composed of microalgae fossils.
Oh God, we're getting a sign. Okay, yeah, okay. So water's on it, right?
Yep.
And then
absorbs.
Goes away.
And then I don't want to block Erin. I'm trying to lower it. Put it over here. And then it goes away, I guess. Does it? Is it going away? Is it going away faster than a comfy thing on your feet?
So it's taking the water off of you. It's like suctioning the water because it is fossils of microalgae.
Yeah.
It's fossils of microalgae.
Yeah, diatomaceous earth is fossilized stuff. Right.
Yeah, so it's actually a fossil, and then
does Erin want one?
Erin, do you want one? She can hook you up, apparently.
Thanks.
This is a gaming show, and I know I did this, and I'm not sorry.
But I feel like this is a good barometer for where the weird is going to begin.
Yeah.
Jamie just came in and said performance tax and took some of my coffee.
Yeah, as she should.
Okay.
So the water isn't disappearing. It will evaporate. It's just taking the water off of you more efficiently.
Right.
And then it will evaporate. So it doesn't get trapped and get grimy, ideally.
Okay.
My
last question. Do we prefer a stone bath mat or do we want something comfy on our
wait, hold on a
feet?
sec. I know better than to answer that question. I'm just gonna not. I'm just gonna.
Are both of you just pleading the fifth on this one because Jamie's still lurking in the corner?
Not.
Yeah, she is. All right, well, that's smart. I'll pay for that later. Let's start talking about some video games, shall we?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
So first up on our agenda is a thing that I'm gonna have to explain.
Will, when you put this story up, Erin, did you read this? Do you know what this is? I don't get it.
I read the article and it was a lot of words.
Okay, great, excellent. Okay, so
yeah.
There is a game that many of us are familiar with called Magic: The Gathering, which exists in 3 different places, primarily. Physical cards, which you play with your friends at conventions or tabletop in your house or wherever. Game store, play competitively, been played for a million years. That's how the game was originally played. Then sometime around 7th edition, so a while ago, we got Magic: The Gathering Online, which is the same game, but with digital cards that you own and can trade around, and you play the same game. And then more recently, we got Magic Arena, which is the same game, except the rules for acquiring cards are a little different, but all of them are fundamentally playing the same game of Magic. Okay,
right.
Cool, great, awesome. Also recently, to good and ill effect, Wizards of the Coast has reached out to other IP holders and said, hey, we want to make a Magic set of your thing. Right? So we've had Magic sets for Lord of the Rings. We've had Magic sets for Warhammer 40K. There are Doctor Who Commander decks. There was a Walking Dead Secret Lair. That we have cards for the kids from Stranger Things, and so on and so forth. Next month, we're getting the Final Fantasy Magic: The Gathering set. And yes, I will be spending entirely too much money on it because they just made my hyperfixation Blorbo's Kiss. And I know that I'm being sucked into that. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Have you seen the world outside? I'm going to deal with them making my hyperfixation Floorbo's Kiss.
Isn't that also the fastest selling Magic set, but it's not out yet?
That is correct. It is the best selling Magic set that's ever existed, and it's not even out yet, according to Star City Games, not even according to Wizards. So, all of that having been said, through all of these things, it has been one game. One game that is more or less identical with a couple of technical limitations on Arena and online and physical cards. Until this fall, we are getting a set for Spider-Man. We're getting an amazing Spider-Man set with the whole Spider-Man and all of his, like all of the different versions of Spider-Man and all the villains and all the everything in physical cards only. For the first time, Wizards is saying that we won't get Spider-Man cards on Arena or Magic Online because they couldn't get the rights to digital cards from Marvel.
Because that probably already as is with Snap.
That is the current surmise. So now what they're doing instead is they're doing a set called Through the Omen Paths, which is an in-universe version of all of the cards that would normally be Spider-Man, except now they're Magic Universe versions of that, but the rules text is identical. And
right.
Okay, so, couple of problems. Number one, there have already been cases, and this is sort of difficult to explain. Sometimes you need to name a card for an effect.
Right.
There have already been cases in high-level competitive Magic where people have named the wrong card because they got confused. Now, if you practice on digital or practice in physical, you're going to know the names of the card that does that thing differently. So that's a problem.
But like, okay, in high-end tournaments and stuff, I feel like there might be a thing where it's like, if that's the case, they could be like, are you sure?
Yeah, there's probably going to be some allowance for that.
Yeah.
We're not entirely sure. The other problem is that there are lots of Magic players who don't like the idea that there's going to be an entire Spider-Man set, because for a very long time, Magic had original Magic IP, and we got really cool worlds out of it, and they're not big fans of Universes Beyond, which is the whole Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who, 40K, Final Fantasy, blah, 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 sets. And they are upset that the digital games are getting this Magic Universe lore-compliant card set that will never be released in physical because Wizards wants to sell the physical Spider-Man cards. So that's a whole...
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. So this is just bad all around. And this isn't the only case. They have said that this will be the case for all Marvel sets going forward at a minimum, though there are later this year Final Fantasy and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Both of those sets will have digital physical parity. It's just the Marvel sets for now
because Marvel's tied up
that are getting these treatments. So this is sort of the worst possible solution, in my opinion. I
mean, it might still be the best possible solution if they're making this set.
Yeah, but you don't mess with nerds and collections. Like, if people are collecting stuff in the digital realm and there's something that exists in the physical realm that they can't have in the digital realm, that's really irritating.
In my moral heart of hearts, I agree. I'm going to put on my cold corpo hat here for a second.
No!
Yeah.
Late stage capitalism has entered the chat.
Hold on. Let's do this right. I just got to say here. There we go. This is Temu Matt. Okay. Everyone is rightfully complaining on both sides of this. Here's the problem. They're still going to sell so many of both versions of this thing that they will not, like, the anger will be there, and all it will do is fuel stories like us talking about it so more people know about it who will probably buy one of them. It's bad and I don't like it. But if they're going to do this, and I guarantee you that there's someone somewhere in the copyright or the whoever is deciding what can be used where, that thought when this deal went through first that it would be fine, and then they found out it absolutely wasn't going to be fine after some element of it was signed, and then they're trying to figure out a way around it because probably the Marvel Snap deal is pretty exclusive. So yeah, I bet you different departments locked themselves into this nightmare that they're trying to figure their way out of.
Yeah. So I want to, so New Guy correctly says the only way to make them stop is to not buy the cards. That's not entirely true, because here's the thing, right? And this is the important thing. Enough existing players have to not buy the cards to counteract the net profit from the set from all of the new people who will come in because they like Spider-Man and want to check out Magic the Gathering, and from the increased cost of Universes Beyond sets, because Universes Beyond sets also cost more because they have to pay the licensing fees, so they cost more even though they're also standard legal, right? By the way, this isn't like a fancy tournament set or a commander-only set. These sets will be legal in every tier of competitive play. Which is
okay. I was gonna ask that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very interesting. I'm certainly not looking forward to all of it. I'm just gonna sit in my giant Dragon's Hoard of Final Fantasy themed Magic the Gathering cards and merch and apparel, and be happy with that, and then try and figure this out when it happens.
I actually don't. Oh, I don't know, because I'm not in it enough anymore. How much of the community engages in both, like collections wise, both Arena and physical Magic? I imagine it's actually kind of a small amount. I imagine everyone dabbles, but like it feels like you pick one and you go in that lane, because just from a cost perspective.
Well, it's much easier to get into like a new deck in Arena before you get into it in paper. So for instance, there's a new card called Corey Steelcutter, which is a new card that came out in the most recent set, and it's bonkers powerful. I'm doing some research right now. In Arena, it costs 4 rare wild cards to make 4 Corey Steelcutters, right? Like that, there's a 1-to-1, right? And the cheapest version of Corey Steelcutter is $16 in paper. So that's more than $60 just for those cards, and you can pay less real money to get them on Arena, right? So there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages, right? In Arena, you're playing in slightly different formats, you're playing with digital rules, and you're not getting the in-person experience, but it is easier to do deck testing. So
Will, what's your go-to, like, Magic the Gathering? Is it in person or is it online, or
it's
is it Arena?
My local game store stopped doing Magic during the pandemic and never picked back up, so I don't have a place to play.
So how would you feel then if they released the Final Fantasy on physical only?
I would understand, I think.
Kiss.
Yeah,
sure. But they were kissing, Will.
Sure.
They were kissing, and then corporations took them and said, your love isn't, you can't do it.
Sure, but because I mostly play on Arena, and I also do have a physical collection, though I don't use it, I would still get the good brain chemicals from just acquiring, right? Which is, like, not ideal, but still a thing that I'm down for, right? And I think that it'll be interesting. So, just to can you stack duplicates of the Marvel versions in the universe functional copy? No. From a rules perspective, they will be the same card, printed differently. So the way that this works is sometimes when cards have been printed in the past that have an IP version, right? So like there was a Godzilla crossover for when we did the dinosaur set, right? And there was Godzilla Tyrant King, right? And everyone was like, that's not a real Magic card. And you're right, it's not, because the Magic card was named Zalortha Strength Incarnate, and it was just an alternate art treatment called Godzilla King of the Monsters. Got it. So
okay, my last question on this story, because I don't know. because it feels like they got themselves into a corner here, and there's no answer that will make everyone happy. I think it feels like even in the little bits I poked around the article and the post that's on Magic's website and like replies to it, there's lots of complaints. I have not seen what a solution would be that is like a real one, you know what I mean, like a plausible one.
I think lots of people were hoping that they would rewind the clock and not take any deals. Like, I think the hope is that in the future, digital rights are now a contingent part of printing a Universes Beyond set, that like the set won't get printed unless they can guarantee parity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the parity is the important part. I
just don't know if in the current media landscape, if something big enough came through, like a Marvel.
I don't know what's bigger than Marvel, right? For this, right? Unless, and I don't think it's going to happen. The only
Dark Universe.
The only other one that I can think of that might generate more money than just Marvel is if they got a Star Wars crossover.
I was about to say it.
Which would also fall probably under the same auspices because I'm willing to bet it's not actually Marvel directly. I'm willing to bet it's Disney lawyers. I'm so willing to bet it's Disney lawyers, which means that they're going to have this problem with all of them.
Well, Star Wars has its own damn collectible card game, so
right. Well, and the other by the way, the other problem that emerges from this, right, is what are they going to do? Because, and this is sort of a conceptual design problem more than like a functional problem. Spider-Man is a spider-human hero. That's his creature type, which is a mechanical part of the card.
Sure.
Which means that Magic now has to make a spider-human hero who is not Spider-Man and who is legally distinct enough to not get sued by Marvel and Disney, but still conveys that idea for enough to be on a card and be like a recognizable part of Magic lore for Through the Omen Paths. And that's just one, right? There's going to be like Green Goblin and Mysterio and, you know, Killer Croc and like all of these other ones.
Killer Croc is Batman. How dare you? How dare you?
What am I thinking? There is a croc guy. Spider-Man has fought a giant crocodile, dude, in the sewers of Manhattan.
Not Killer Croc.
Whatever.
The Lizard.
There, sure.
Dr. Kurt Connors.
You forgive me for forgetting.
Aaron, are you gonna sit here? This is a fellow doctor.
Giant
being
lizard
besmirched.
thing is called Killer Croc, and which one's called the Lizard? Notoriously well-named villains.
Weren't we just talking about how nerds get really mad about stuff that doesn't matter? Isn't that what we were saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This is me doing it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
We saw it in your eyes. The activation kicked off.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, hopefully people enjoy proxies. I don't know. I have no solution here. This is crazy. I mean, it's interesting that this happened now. And it is due to IP license. Yeah.
This is the first time that they've not had simultaneous digital and physical card releases.
Not exactly, but to this scale, yes. The Warhammer 40K and Doctor Who Commander decks are experiencing the same thing, but because that only affects two real formats in one format that's an excuse for two adults to throw money at each other until someone gives up, there's been less outcry, but these cards affect every competitive format. So the Commander decks are only legal in Commander, which is the most popular format, but mostly played in person and not in digital. Legacy and Vintage. Legacy players are used to this because Legacy is kind of weird like that, and Vintage players will just cry themselves to sleep on their piles of money because Vintage decks start with the power 9, which means that a Vintage deck starts at a greater cost than a car. So I really don't care what the Vintage players think.
That's fair.
Yeah. So this is the first time it's affecting Standard and everything else.
Got it.
So yeah.
All right.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah,
I hope it works out for.
Yeah, it's super weird, and I wanted to talk about it, and I'm sorry that I saw the glaze. It's okay, it's fine.
I learned so much about Magic the Gathering just now. Like, don't apologize for that, because I think it's fascinating. And like, honestly, the IP stuff, I know we'll move on, but like the IP stuff was the first time ever. The Lord of the Rings one for me was just like, ooh, maybe I should give this Magic thing a try.
Yeah.
And then I didn't because money, but like, I get why they're doing it, and I do think it is drawing in new players. To your point of like the amount of people who will buy it because of Spider-Man will offset people protesting it.
Yep.
Anyway,
oh, there is also a digital only set, but we don't talk about that because it was a mistake and continues to be a mistake, and they should never have done it. So anyway, next up, Oblivion.
You can hear the music.
That's right.
We don't have the rights to it, but you can hear it in your head.
Right.
Yeah. So that happened. That was so first, real quick, just before we get into what happened with the Oblivion remaster shadow dropping, just as a sort of recap with Will, but then Erin, because I'm not sure your history with the series. From both of you, like, did you play the original back in the day? Are you playing this new version?
Oh.
No and no.
I did. I'm trying to remember the first one. What was before Oblivion?
Morrowind.
I played Morrowind all the way through. I tried Oblivion. I don't think I finished it. I tried Skyrim. It was too open world for me, and I panicked. I've started it 1,000 times, but
if I touch a Bethesda game, I break out in hives. So I don't think they're bad or anything. I just am. Like, I've tried multiple Bethesda games multiple times, and every time I've tried them, I just, like, my brain just experiences like static, and I just stop.
I get it. I shut down. It's the same, like, yeah, it's an actively, like, I must keep forcing myself to play this type of thing. But the funny thing with me was that I heard about this release because, like, within the 2 hours of me just sitting at my laptop, I saw about 5 friends start playing it. And I was like, oh, I guess that came out. Like, just on my Steam notifications. So, yeah.
Okay, so I back in the day played it quite a bit. I almost beat it and never did. Honestly, the Oblivion sections of Oblivion were famously punishing and rough. And I'm not a terrible fan of the way that the enemy level scaling works. We've actually done an EC episode on that forever ago. What I did love about it though, and I'm lost in it again. Like, I am in. This is for me. This is the right amount of nostalgia. I think, Will, you might have coined this last week, but it's basically like they released the game that you think you remember.
Yeah,
like,
that was Chat, I think, and,
okay.
and me refining Chat's idea, but yes.
It has been an absolute delight. And look, I'm playing it on PS5. Playing on controller is a bit clunky in my opinion, but like I that's how I played it back on the Xbox 360. Like I'm just used to it, and the coat of paint makes it feel good. You can actually run in it now. You can dash. That's nice. There are so many problems with this game. I don't care. And it kind of put it into an interesting category for me because, like, I've gotten to points even while my playthrough, I'm like, well, this is frustrating. Will, on stream last week when we like did the quest in a wrong way and then we had to like figure it out or reload or whatever. It was like, Bethesda games can get in their own way and trip on their own shoelaces. But overall, I think this is phenomenal. I find its creation more fascinating than the actual game, to be perfectly honest. And there's been a lot of talk, and I am not of a technical mind of this to really know the exact way, but a lot of people are like either praising or yelling at Cloud about the exact level of jank is still in this game because it is basically the brain of the game is the old school engine, and it's sort of being there's a wrapper of Unreal 5. And first of all, it's interesting because everyone's sort of talking about that, and I think it's because it's specifically a Bethesda game. Games do that kind of thing all the time. You take the core of a thing and then you put it in a different, that's just how a lot of stuff functions right now. So that's not the terribly interesting part of the story. It's the conversation that I'm actually interested in Brad and Janet and Rocky and both of you here. when doing a remaster here, because this is not, everyone's like, this should be called a remake. I don't think it should be. This is a remaster. This is a fresh coat of paint. They've adjusted some.
Final Fantasy VII was a remake.
Final Fantasy VII is a remake. Yeah. Like it's a different game than you played with the same story, but not really. Yeah. This is the exact game, but with quality of life improvements and a gloss of paint that is very, 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 very pretty. So like, I'm just curious, like when you're looking for, and I'm talking about specifically oh no, actually let's go here. Do you prefer a remake or a remaster, or is it sort of different based on like whatever IP or genre that we're talking about?
Well, I can speak to this from the Mass Effect perspective, because they did that recently. And I think it was to some extent even less than what Oblivion just did, because it just repackaged it mostly and made the graphics a little shinier. But I don't think it was even a full engine remaster. Like, it was just, you can access all 3 games in one place now, and the streamlining between them and the save files is just a little bit better. But they didn't change any mechanics. It's the same game. It's the same game. And for me, that's fine. But I've already played them 1,000 times. Like, and I will play them again. I did like the fact that it made it an easier sell for me to keep harassing friends to play Mass Effect, to go, you can get it all in one spot now, and it's got all the DLC. Because like your DLC management as a Mass Effect fan and your save file management was legitimately a nightmare. Like, anytime that you wanted to start a new game, you had to start with one. You had to make sure you didn't switch consoles. You had to get all the DLCs imported. You had to play them in the right order. And like, that's what I think the Legendary Edition wrapped really well together. And I think that's why it was necessary, but it didn't ultimately improve the game. But what you're talking about was like, if they had made like a Final Fantasy VII version of Mass Effect that was essentially the same story but a totally different game, that's a hard maybe. It would really have to scratch the same brain itch, which is a high bar. And I don't know if they can do it.
With something like Mass Effect 2, not Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect as well, meaning all 3 of the original games, they're still of a time period where I would imagine that, I mean, there's always a chance. I would imagine that they wouldn't be interested in making something that's so different and so over the top, that's a different sort of mechanical thing, because when it was made, it still had the fidelity of essentially like a great sci-fi film, you know, already. Like Final Fantasy VII is very, very blocky and stagnant, and it has a beautiful story and it's well written, etc. But like, and it did the best it could for the time, but it's not pulling on the exact same heartstrings as people anymore because people are used to other things. Will, what about you?
I only like remasters for games I haven't played. Like I like remasters. So like, I loved that we got a Super Mario and the Legend of the Seven Stars RPG remaster, right? Because I'd never gotten to play the original because copies are stupidly expensive and I don't have a system that plays it, right? So like, I got to play a game I didn't get to play otherwise. And for that, I like remasters. But for games that I've already played, I want a remake, right? Because I very much suffer from trying to step in the same river twice cooks my brain instantly, right? So like trying to go back and replay Breath of the Wild, right? I absolutely love Breath of the Wild. I like love everything about Breath of the Wild. We do not talk about Tears of the Kingdom. We love Breath of the Wild. Okay, great, awesome, excellent.
I love Tears of the Kingdom.
We know.
The interventions later. No, that's okay. It completely missed me, right? And so I've tried to go back and replay Breath of the Wild, and I find that it's not like interesting or possible to really do it. So for me, the need for newness means that I want a remake of something that, like, if I'm gonna replay something that I loved, I want it to be remade. like in a new way.
Well, yeah, and I think there was another quote you popped up before, I didn't catch their name, but about asking for like a Mass Effect 1 remake because what they did was like they got better at the mechanics from 1 to 2 to 3.
Yes.
They got rid of the Mako. They got like your overheating versus like ammo packs, like all of that made the game better. And so if they were like, all the lessons we learned from 1 to 2 to 3, let's go back to 1 and do all those mechanics and get rid of the freaking Mako with the weirdest center of gravity ever designed. Like, yes. And that when I first heard that they were doing the Mass Effect, that's what I was hoping they were going to do.
That's what I thought they were doing, but I guess I didn't play the remake. Oh.
But what you said though, like in terms of system, it was really hard to get friends to play Mass Effect 1 because it was like Xbox 360, right? Like it was an old game that, you know, yes, you could backload it, but it wasn't clean. So that's why I'm glad that they released it on new systems. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to jump.
No, that's it. I mean, that's kind of the
conversation. Yeah,
that's kind of the point. So with this, I think for a game like Oblivion, I think this is the perfect way to re-experience it or experience it for the first time, because it is, for everything we've said, for every reason that I've said I've loved it, for every reason everyone has said that you've bounced off it, that is what the core of this game is.
Right. It has not changed.
And I did the quest last night. It's so dumb and boring, and I love it. I don't know why I love it. You're in a castle in Coral, and you have to like help the queen or whoever she is, like got a painting stolen, and she gives you a key to the castle. She's like, go be an investigator and go tell me which of these 6 people is the person who stole my painting, and you have to go interview them and find clues. It's the least like the game's not made for it. It's so boring in the way that you have to do it, but I'm like, I'm gonna find out who stole this painting. And like, I don't know, it locked me in because it brought me back to the place where like these games sort of like feel like anything can happen, and like, oh, now I'm a detective. Great. Is the mechanic of me being a detective super janky? Absolutely. But I was just in a troll den earlier being a sneaky bowman. Like, this is all very different stuff. I don't know. I appreciate that they did this. I worry that Bethesda may have learned the wrong lesson here. And I know there's a Fallout 3 version of this sort of coming out soon, which could be good. But then other than that, maybe New Vegas, but like, other than that, I don't know if there's anything else. And Morrowind would be lovely, of course, but like, they can't go back to this well too many times. I think this is special because it hadn't been done yet.
And I think there's a generational marketing thing that they're trying to do too, where it's like, we old now and we have kids now, and like there's an element of like, I want to introduce you to this beautiful game that I played when I was your age. And then they look at the graphics and they're like, no, I'm not playing that.
Right.
And this is like a way to bring in younger players to games that they may have heard of, but are just inaccessible because of graphics. That may be the marketing. Yeah,
I think so.
Big part of the marketing. Yeah.
Also, Smash and Grab, you say Daggerfall. Listen, that would be lovely, but that's a remake. Like, you can't do what they did here with Oblivion and just put it into Unreal and call it a day.
Yeah, and it is also worth noting that this does not interfere at all with Skyblivion, which I know was a concern. In fact, Bethesda sent the Skyblivion team copies of the remake, of the remaster, and said, we know what you're doing. You have our blessing. Here's what we did. Good luck. Which, more than anything else about this, classy. So that classy.
I like that.
Yeah,
I do like that. Modders for the win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last thing I did want to talk about here real quick, and modders are already starting on this Oblivion thing. There's a couple articles, we'll have them in the show notes, about sort of like they're already trying to figure out how to mod this correctly.
I saw that someone was modding it to be the OG graphics, and I'm like, why? The point? Why? Modders.
I think that's a real Jurassic Park you know, just to see if we could, not if we should, sort of thing. But hey, more power to him. I want to talk a little bit about the concept of shadow drops. I know this was leaked. I understand. A week or two before, whatever it was when we were talking about it. I have increasingly loved when stuff just comes out of nowhere and appears. I think there's so much hype around so many things that, like, I've come to. This is not like water in Mad Max Fury Road. When there is a lack of hype, I do not come to what is it? Not regret its absence. I forget. Was it? Lament its absence. I love its absence. I love that this just got put out into the world and it became like a big splash thing for a week and a half. Like, it felt really, really nice. So I don't know. I think, and I've said this for a long time, even in movies. Like, could you imagine a world where Avengers Endgame had no trailer? Yeah. And they just released it when it was done. Like, I know that can't happen for a lot of different reasons, but how special that would be. And I feel like the Oblivion remaster is getting a lot more love because of that. Like, there wasn't like 6 months leading up and 9 in-depth videos about how it was working and like what you'll get to do in the painted realm and like all it just felt impressive because it was just thrown at us all at once almost. How are people feeling about the shadow drop in general?
I mean, I've been pro shadow drop for forever. Like, indies do this more frequently where they're like, all right, cool, game's done, here it is. And you're like, oh, I had no idea this existed 10 minutes ago, but now it's my whole identity for like 3 weeks. Great.
Yeah. Panic calling to work to take time off. Yeah. And I think, I love it for video games. I think TV streamers are missing a beat with it. I think because the method of TV right now is that they release 6, maybe 8 episodes of half a story, and then we wait 2 to 3 years, and then we get another part of a story, and all the hype kind of makes it feel like a little bit of a letdown. Whereas, like, if something like House of the Dragon was just like, here you go, we done the next bit of the story, then I'd be super excited and I would sit down and watch it, and then I wouldn't be as frustrated if I had to wait another few years. I don't know. I think it's possible with TV streaming, and I think that would be a better word of mouth than a lot.
I'm gonna break it real quick. Everyone's gonna be able to hear Erin still. I'm just gonna make her disappear and reappear real quick.
Oh wait, hold on.
Am I glitching? Sorry.
There we go.
Much better.
All right.
Yay.
Testing. Yeah. All right.
Every time that happens, if it happens again, I'm hitting that button.
Okay.
No, that makes total sense in the streaming space. I would like to see that. I don't know. I just want to. I think what I'm missing is surprise. There's so much neat thing, like so much neat media all around. I just want to be surprised by stuff when it comes out. And this was a lovely one. I don't know.
All right, let's keep moving. We're gonna talk about wars, specifically the Star variety. So we got 2 pieces of news. One, the prophecy has been fulfilled for this upcoming season in renowned multiversal game Fortnite. You will be able to play as Darth Jar Jar the Wise. That's right. They are doing a Sith version of Jar Jar in the upcoming Fortnite season. That's all you need to know. That doesn't mean you should play Fortnite. It just means that they're doing it, and I'm happy that they're doing it over there where I can look at it and not play Fortnite. Thanks. The other one is this new announcement of a new IP, or a new, I guess, property in the Star Wars universe. Erin, you really want to talk about this. Tell us about ZCOM.
I'm so excited. So it's technically called Zero Company, but they are more Star Wars video games is always a good thing. We're happy to have more Star Wars video games. Jedi Fallen Order series has been fantastic, and that's great. Single player RPG Star Wars, I'm here for. But also love turn-based games such as XCOM, which has been a delightful game. And if people haven't played the new new big ass air quotes around those, but like those have been great. And then so they are coming out with a turn-based tactical Star Wars game of just mercs and mercenaries, as much as I could get from the trailer. But it's basically the mechanics of XCOM, and they called it Zero Company, which is ZCOM. I see what you did there. and it looks pretty and it looks awesome, and I cannot wait to play it. I'm sure I will throw my controller across the room when my 99% likelihood of hitting misses.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's the thing where you've got the blaster like pressed against someone and then miss, and you're like, how? It's
so horrible when that happens, but it happens, and that's what we sign up for when we play these turn-based tactical games. Some games are better at it than others. I think of the remasters, XCOM 1 was better than XCOM 2. XCOM 2 had a lot of those percentage issues. I think they tried to be too smart with the statistics and ended up screwing themselves over. But yes, Midnight Suns, 10 out of 10. Although I still wish they would let me romance people in Midnight Suns. But
do they not? I thought they did.
No, you can talk to everyone, but it's more of like you're just eavesdropping on stories, and like you can build relationships in terms of like going out on missions, and they really overhyped the RPG aspect of Midnight Suns.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
And I think that's mostly because they were going off of Marvel's Bible, and because it's build your own protag. They don't want to deal with the ramifications of going off Bible far enough to make individual characters hot for protag, and that's kind of a weird, like a weird problem that they have.
But we've got it bad, got it bad, got it bad. We're hot for protag. Bow, 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 bow. Whoa! Yes. No.
I don't know. After the blue suede shoes thing, I don't know that anything's ever gonna follow that. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah. Oh dear! It has arrived already. Time has flown at the part of the show where we sell people fake things while they get sold real things. All right, Erin. I don't know if you were here when we started doing this. Okay, so we need to roll 3 minutes of ads on Twitch to keep the pre-rolls, which are garbage, off. So we're gonna pitch things that the audience can't spend money on but wish they could. So Matt, would you do a demonstration of this, our style of advertisement?
Yes. Give me a second.
Chat. It's the bath mat, right? We're all on the same page. He's going to get the bath mat, right? Okay, yeah. Great.
All right, we good?
Yeah, please go right ahead.
Oh, wow, the music came in loud. Hi there, everyone. Matt from Extra Credits here. Don't confuse me with the item that I'm selling you that you can't buy. My bath mat. That's right. You can't buy it. I wish you could. I'm going to move it over here so it's not hitting Erin in the face. I wish it was fluffy, right? But it's not. And therefore, you wouldn't even really want it. Look, it does its job well. It does everything it's supposed to do in a non-sonic shower. It makes all the... Look, the water that was on it before is gone. It only took an hour. It's like magic. And my feet are cold. You can't buy it. I just wanted to take this time to let you know that you can't have it. And I hope your feet are warm and soft. There we go. That's how we do it. That's how we sell the things we can't sell.
Delightful.
I will not lick the bath mat. Okay. I do a lot of stuff on this show.
Great. I have mine, Matt. If you would.
We go.
Hi there, everyone. Wolf from Extra Credits here to pitch you a new tool of scientific inquiry vetted by an actual scientist. Lick it. That's right. If you find a rock and you're not sure what kind of rock it is, apparently you should just lick it. That's right. You can find out if it's a fossil, like a rare dead thing. That's apparently how actual scientists do the thing. So it's really science. If you just have a clipboard, you pick up a rock, you're like, I wonder what this rock is, and then you lick it, and that's just how you figure it out. So that's apparently a thing that you, aspiring scientists, should have in your toolkit. Try just licking it.
When a problem comes along,
you must lick it.
I don't know if that's entirely accurate. Erin, would you like to sell something in rebuttal to what Will has just said? You don't have to.
We are back from ads, by the way.
I have something that people probably actually could buy, but it's the first thing I saw on my desk. So roll the music, please.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Erin Macdonald here to sell you the Screaming Goat. When people try to tell you to lick your bath mat, you respond in tears of screams, terrifying those around you. I don't know if this will work or not. Yeah. That's what your response should be when people tell you to lick your bath mat. So buy one of your Screaming Goats now so you can respond to those who have subscribed to the Lick It franchise.
All right. I like it.
It's very good.
We could just fill the rest with goat screaming, but I will not do that to the rest of the audience.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And
I think that was
we're
good.
back from ads. Yeah. Excellent.
We've been
excellent.
very productive.
All right. Time for our next story, which I'm gonna go ID some rocks in my backyard. Like,
do it.
All right. As everyone knows, I am our resident support main. I play supports in every video game you can possibly play support in, yes, including that one that you think you can't. I do this because I enjoy the sort of playstyle of playing support in all of these different places. Rivals has had a big conversation recently about the nature of supporting or being a strategist, is what they call it, in Rivals. And it has sort of come to a head and has led to a support strike, or a healer strike, as they're sometimes called, where people are refusing to queue as supports or healers because of toxicity in the community regarding the role. And it's sort of kind of an interesting... It's sort of an interesting phenomena that keeps coming up over and over and over again. In every game that uses the Trinity, right? Mm-hmm. The healer, tank, DPS, healers get flack. Mm-hmm. In every one I've ever seen. I suppose in WoW, tanks can get slightly more because aggro management's much more important than it is in some other places. And if you screw up as a tank, everyone dies. But that's also true in a lot of places. But healers tend to get a lot of flack.
I have a theory, just real quick, coming from my long ago past as an editor. There is a term that is used in a lot of different things, and that is shit rolls downhill. And when something goes wrong in pre-production or production or in parts of post-production, all of a sudden the editor is there being the last line of defense. And if that, even though they might have been given something that is completely, you can't do what the people in charge want you to do with it, they are given that task regardless, and it can be rather thankless. I feel like if a tank is the first line of defense, and DPS almost like their job is getting the other team down fast enough so that the healer can still kind of do his job or their job in the background, then if that all fails, there's no one left alive to blame except the healer. I've never sort of put two and two together, but I feel like healers are the editors of first-person team-based shooters.
Yeah, like I can listen. I can cloak and dagger all day. I can heal people. I can get people in out of trouble. Because cloak's right click is stupid. I can buff people's damage. I can use my ult. I can do all those things. But if you keep running in out of my line of sight and then complaining that I didn't heal your Iron Fist, Psylocke, whatever, when you are on the other side of the entire map in their backline, that's between you and those who dwell above. Like, I got nothing for you, right? Like, So there is sort of this mentality, I think, that it always comes down to support diff, that it always comes down to this other thing. And then the problem is that people's toxicity about it is kind of rampant, right? Yeah, I'm in their spawn. Why aren't I getting healed? Exactly.
So I do think, like, yes, I think the support harassment is prevalent across all of these sort of games. However, I also think this is a Rivals-induced issue, is why it's so big. So I tried playing Rivals. I don't play a lot of these games, but I'm a sucker for IP and multiple things being merged together. I gave it a try. It was a nightmare in terms of, like, the amount of stuff that they don't put in, like, the guide of how to play the game, that you have to look up stuff online to learn how to play each character properly, means that like you can kind of do the basics, but there's obviously stuff and combos that folks have like assembled together collectively. I don't know. I found the tutorial and the training and the accessibility for coming in to try to play a new character a nightmare. And I do think, like, as a support, I never even tried playing support. I was just straight DPS. Like, I'll just try this out. And I could do a couple things, but obviously not on the level, even at the right scale for ranking and everything. Like, it was. And so I can see, like, being a support, there's stuff that you're trying to figure out that isn't obvious unless maybe if you play these games all the time. But yeah, it wasn't obvious for me.
And there was also a unique Rivals problem, which is that the answer to why is there an Iron Fist murdering our backline is not DPS turning around and doing, like, and taking care of the Iron Fist. It's to run triple support, which is probably not a sustainable solution long term, but
even what you just laid out, right? Like, I don't know that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, right. I think that's sort of to Erin's point. Like, I did feel this with Rivals that I didn't feel with Overwatch back in the day. Is like I was able to pop in and pop out of Overwatch, and within a game or two, I'd be like, oh, if after not playing for a while, I'm like, oh, the meta's here. Oh, we got this. Oh, okay. You can kind of like through pure gameplay in a few matches. Where Rivals, and listen, maybe it's my bones being dust, but like I have a real hard time figuring out what is supposed to be happening. Like I played like 5 games and I felt like I didn't like in a row lately, and I'm like, I don't know what this meta is, and no one is taking the time, nor is it their job to, but taking their time to explain it to me in these low-level unranked areas. You know what I mean?
The triple support meta is only really at higher rank tiers. You can run 2-2-2. I've also seen 1-3-2, 1 tank, 3 DPS, 2 support. Like it is more flexible than that. It's just there is this additional support theoretical slot that's happening a lot because Rivals is pretty big on dive. The interesting thing is that while both of you have incredibly valid points about not explaining things, the Rivals team has actually listened, and the next mid-season support patch is including or next mid-season rebalance patches including support buffs, which I think is going to end up being a problem because I'm gonna give you all a spoiler right now. I don't actually think the supports need it. I don't.
Well, so this is the interesting. If you buff supports too much, your games get longer. I mean, it depends if they're not timed, right? Like, are every match timed?
Yes, but sort of loosely.
Let me rephrase. Then your volleys or your exchanges or your battles within that time get longer, and therefore there's less different push-pull moments.
Yeah,
like that's just how the timing will work out.
Right.
Which might not be great either. But again, I don't know. I'm not deep enough into it. What would be the solution? Would it just be people to stop being dicks?
Amazing. Yes.
Oh, well,
people
how do you patch that into a game?
You go on strike apparently. But I think it is important that like when this like idea when people get harassed for doing the best that they can at a role and then taking all of the blame, like the number of times I've been blamed for like healer diff when no one else on my team will heal and I have a Spider-Man, like, and I can taste the web because I just keep dying and dying and dying on respawn and no one's covering my route from respawn to the thing. And Spider-Man just keeps solo killing me. Like, people need to have understanding and empathy for what is going on. Right?
Well, I wonder
them.
if this even speaks to Erin's point, weirdly, in the rivals of it all, right? Like, and again, I'm not deep enough into team shooters at this point to really do it. And so Brad, Janet, start chiming in here. Let me know when I am off course. But like, it feels like because Rivals is such a free-to-play game, and B, just phenom of popularity, right? That means that the player base is going to be much larger than, say, a $40 buy-in even for the original Overwatch 1. Okay, right? Because there's a barrier to entry to play Overwatch 1. Or one more. There's a few, but you get what I'm saying. So, like, it feels like by its very nature, I think I talked about this actually, weirdly, this all ties together, Erin, with Bridge Crew. With the reason why I felt comfortable, and it's a completely different game, of course it is. But the reason why I always felt comfortable going into VR and playing Bridge Crew with strangers is because the buy-in set myself up for more times than not being linked with people that want the same experience I do. They have a PC with the VR headset and they bought a Star Trek game. That's a lot of checks and balances to get to a point, to get to a player base that I'm probably going to relate to. And again, I'm not saying that every game should be this, absolutely not. I'm saying I think problems like what's happening in Marvel Rivals comes from the fact that the player base is so huge and there's no true buy-in other than hardware. So you have a player base that is so large, it's harder to latch onto what a proper meta or comp or anything would be outside of external research, and therefore you're going to get more toxicity as eventually one of the two teams feels like they're getting steamrolled because the healer messed up, right?
There's also another interesting problem, right? Which is that Overwatch 2, while it has taken a couple of very significant knocks, is still running fine, right? Is in no danger of shutting down, which does mean that there's a weird mix in Rivals of people who moved from Overwatch 2, people who dabble in both, and people who have never played Overwatch or any other hero shooter at all.
There you go. That's
right?
another one.
And that's another big one, right? Because if my favorite, right, Jeff is probably the best example of this, right? If I'm playing Rivals because I like the cute little shark kid who can nom up the entire enemy team and then yeet them off the map because, dear God, he needs a different ultimate. That's such a stupid thing, right? I'm playing a healer because I'm playing my favorite character. I'm not playing a healer because I want to play a healer. I'm playing a healer because my buy-in for the game was that I got to play a cute little shark lad, right? And so I think that that is potentially also a part of the problem, right? Is that, like, gearing people to these roles is done inefficiently, as Erin points out, right? With like the lack of really good in-game tutorial, and does depend on you having synthesized a bunch of knowledge, right? Like, I know a lot of this stuff, but that's because I was playing TF2 in college as a medic main. So y'all whippersnappers who are like, hey, I played Mercy, whatever. Get off my lawn, right?
Wow. So many hats and so many shades of Mercy shame there.
Right, yeah. No, so many hats, right? But, like, I've been playing hero shooters for a very long time, so I adopt to this support play style really well, so it's less of an obvious issue to me. There's also the issue that, like, not all characters are equally hard, like New Guy points out with Spider-Man, right?
Well, but that's the thing too, right? Like, so Overwatch, you come in and you pick based on what character you like, probably to start, like the look of that character, but you're not emotionally involved with any of those characters if you're new to Overwatch.
Yeah.
Here, if I need to be the Punisher for whatever reason, like, I'm going to play the Punisher, even if I suck at playing the Punisher, right? Like, there's
that's
just
your character.
Yeah,
that's your guy.
Yeah.
Which we're going to unpack separately from this, but that's
right.
fine.
I was
going to
say,
is not my character.
how's
although in the new
therapy
Daredevil
going?
Born Again,
Hopefully lots
Frank
of it,
Castle
right? Okay, great, awesome.
is legit pretty badass in that show.
Yeah.
Regardless, that's I think
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yep. I think and it continues to get weirder with new characters and new, especially because we've had Invisible Woman and Emma Frost, right? And I know Emma's not a support, but she's a tank, and healing her is weird, right? Like,
can she be healed in diamond form?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
But the way that she goes in is not
lore inaccurate. Actually, I don't know, but I do remember there was a time in the comic when Emma Frost got her arm broken off when she was a diamond, and she couldn't turn back right away because if she did, she'd bleed out.
Yeah, right. So there's a bunch of the evolving state of the meta also makes it harder and harder as they add more characters that cause people to jump in coherently.
Yes.
Right. Like the complexity ceiling is rising with each character, and they're talking about adding more characters quickly.
Well, I have an idea for a stream.
Okay.
What if we did, because you have a very good amount of knowledge based around this game and compositions and what's going on, etc. And I know some of the mods do too.
Yeah.
What if we did something where me and Erin, you're welcome to pop in here if you'd like to as well, and a couple of our internet friends pop in, and you basically give us what is essentially a Marvel Rivals boot camp.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because we're all coming into it with different stuff. I'm coming into it with a whole bunch of Overwatch nonsense baked in, like people who haven't played a lot of I don't know. I feel like that could actually be something that is helpful for people wanting to get the most out of this game. I think that would be
yeah, okay.
neat.
So we've already had 3 mods volunteer immediately.
Great.
Okay, great. Yeah, we can definitely.
I, of course, will only be playing the Punisher. No, that's not true.
Oh my God. Yeah, Marvel Hall of the Novice, exactly. So we'll figure it out. But
anyway.
it is kind of interesting to talk about. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a cool idea.
I'm gonna keep us moving because we do.
Oh yeah,
we do need to
Let's
keep moving because. Yeah. All right. I should have put another not me story here because neither of you played this. But okay. Good. So this is Clair Obscur. There will be no Clair Obscur spoilers here.
Thank you.
Nor should there be in the comments. I will see them and I will erase them from existence, which is fitting. So Clair Obscur is a French RPG, taking a lot from the tradition of JRPGs, and it is a bona fide hit. It is a game that a lot of streamers have been steadfastly refusing to shut the hell up about for the past 3 months. I have been one of them, by the way. I built a huge chunk of the stream schedule around getting everything done and filling the space until Clair Obscur came out, because I was like, this game's gonna slap, this game's gonna slap, this game's gonna slap, and I was right, because this game slaps. Yes, this team is actually a bunch of French developers that left Ubisoft, I believe. So it is getting critical acclaim. It is getting all of the reviews. It's doing very well on here on Twitch. I am playing it on Twitch. You can come over. I'll be playing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm taking Tuesday to play Blueprints and Thursday for Design Club. But I'm playing a lot of it here. I think it's great. It has a really refreshing take on turn-based that keeps the game fast-moving and interactive. I love the art style. I love the theming. I love everything. It is dark as hell. It comes with a long list of content warnings, which they are not hesitant to deliver on very quickly. And the best part, and my favorite part, is that it's already past 1 million copies sold.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's probably going to be people's game of the year.
I was looking at this. I hadn't seen much of it until honestly yesterday. I watched the gameplay trailer, and what I really loved about the turn-based of it, which is the thing that kind of turns me off to a lot of turn-based stuff these days, is it seems like all of the abilities, or the most of them, when they drop down when it's time, actually tell you what exactly it does, in detail, in the cool art style that feels like Persona kind of made the norm.
Yeah.
And it has Jennifer English in it. So
and the main pro tag that you play for most of the game, Charlie Cox.
Oh yeah?
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Nice.
So
yeah, I remember seeing this on a list of games that were like games to look out for in 2025, and then it completely dropped off. I think I just didn't clock what the name was, and so I didn't even until sort of yesterday I was like, oh, this is that game. And the JRPG element looks great. It's like a JRPG with QTEs, like
yeah, kind of
involved.
If you think okay. I'm gonna
which I don't hate. To be clear.
I'm gonna do it like
yeah.
X but Y, and I know that people know that I'm not the biggest fan of those. But okay, hear me out.
How dare you break your own rule? Is it like Killer Croc but the lizard?
Yeah, that's it exactly. No, it's if Thousand Year Door had a even darker, because Thousand Year Door is actually pretty dark. Had a darker sort of offshoot descendant game that was given to the most French people who had ever Frenched in French to raise, and then given just like a whole heaping helping of all of the trauma that was too mature rated to fit into any Final Fantasy game, then you would have this game. There's a deep undercurrent of the action command system from the Mario RPGs that I think is really key to keeping it moving in an interesting way. And in the same way that Mario RPG does, all of your characters have different mechanics. Like, it's not right. It's not like Final Fantasy 1 where you're just like mash attack, right? Mm-hmm. It's each character is unique, has unique mechanics, has unique skills, has a unique like thing a la later Final Fantasy, which I think is
funny. I have Final Fantasy 7 Remake kind of does that. Like, everyone does have different things, but they control the same. Like, it's more of a role-based thing, but the mechanic is similar. There's some times where it breaks away from that, but like, and I find that I tend to, until I really stop myself, keep playing them all the same. Where it feels like something like this, you'd be like, no. The game is going to be like, you have to do this, now you have to do this, now you have to do this, and it plays to the roles that the characters are doing.
Yeah, so it's very important because, like, so there's a mage character, a bruiser character, and a fencer. And the fencer, whether you like it or not, will be in a stance. And if you're in the wrong stance, you are just gonna get wrecked.
Right.
Because your stances aren't going to flow. The mage needs elemental infusions to have her spells do the things you need them to do. And if you're not using them, then it's not really effective, right? And the bruiser's got to charge up for a big move. And if you're using him incorrectly, then his big move's not going to do as much and he's not as effective. And you're going to lose because the game is difficult, which I also like.
Cool.
So, yeah. It gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Awesome. It will probably be in a year with South of Midnight, Blueprints, and this, to say that I will have a singular game of the year is laughable, but this is definitely a game that I will be recommending and refusing to shut the hell up about for a significant period of time.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
This just in. I've kicked my meetings a half hour, so we're fine. Breaking news. Breaking news. Matt upsets his coworkers, but they were very nice about it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next up, it's time to talk about a very weird week for Discord.
Oh, who started?
I mean, I could start.
I was our moment of silence. For
yeah, a moment of silence for Discord. I've been talking a lot. I just wanted to, I'll keep going. So two things have happened this week.
Isn't that the vibe, though?
Been a week.
For real.
Been a week.
For real. Okay. So the first is that Nintendo is actively trying to get Discord to roll over and give up personally identifying information for the people or for the person or persons who perpetrated the giant Pokemon leak from last year.
Right.
This is kind of a weird spot to be in for Discord, right? It's not really like there are two sides to this, right? One, we don't want Discord to give up people to companies because they say so. But at the same time, Discord kind of has to comply with subpoenas. So there's this like multifaceted thing where, like,
I mean, there's no way they won't. If they get subpoenaed, they'll do it.
Correct, but we don't want them to do it until they get subpoenaed.
Right.
That's the line, right? So that will be interesting to see, because Pokemon Company is still large upset spaghetti over that leak, which is understandable because it was the biggest Pokemon leak ever and leaked a whole bunch of details about things that hadn't been released yet. And Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are both very big on controlling their messaging. Very, very big on controlling their messaging. And so when that gets tweaked, they're not happy. And the second one is that Discord wants to grow up and be a publicly traded company. They want it so bad they can taste it. So they got a new CEO.
Erin's face is correct.
And they got that new CEO from everyone's favorite place that's shedding executives like it's going out of style, Activision.
Yeah. Also, to be clear, I believe, let's see, what is the name of this person? Saknini, I believe. I might be butchering that, and I apologize. But basically, before this,
Humam Saknini.
Before this, they were chief strategy and talent officer in 2009 at Activision Blizz. Following the acquisition of King, they became the company's CFO and then president, a position he held until 2022 when he became vice chairman of the Activision Blizzard board. Then he left in 2023, not long after Microsoft finished its takeover of the company. This all comes to us from PC Gamer, by the way. It's in the show notes if you'd like to read more. The text. I'm going to read it. It's like, okay, I want to make it very clear. Nothing he's saying here is strange or weird. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's what the majority of people that I interact on Discord want Discord to be. Right. They say, I'm incredibly excited to join Discord at such a pivotal moment. Discord stands as a massive foundational part of the gaming ecosystem that millions of players, developers, and publishers rely on every day. I'm going to pause here. They're setting up the ransom note. Continuing on, when Jason and Discord co-founder, CTO Stan Vishnevsky, I'm sorry again, I'm butchering that, have built what they built is truly remarkable. A platform with an undeniable product market fit where hundreds of millions of people connect around their passion for gaming and shared interests. I won't continue, but you get where, like, they're like, man, this beautiful, pristine piece of earth sure will make a great granite quarry. Like, it's very, it's really bad. Again, this is this person's job, and they come from a long line of managing the money of a publicly traded corporation. I don't see this going well for Discord, or us on Discord, the users of Discord. I think it's going to go great for their C-suite, which, right, look, in a legal sense is fine. On a personal and moral sense, it gets real depressing.
Yeah, and I've already seen the big question is, so where to now?
Yeah.
And the answer is hold, right? You gotta hold. This is sort of the lesson that we've learned from leaving the bad place, aka Twitter. Which is, you need to hold until everyone knows where we're going. Oh God.
I was holding. Do you see? That was not a technical glitch at all. I was just holding. Now
it's
I'm
real
back.
Funny because Erin cleared up as you degraded.
Weird. Erin, did you take my bandwidth?
We're tag teaming bandwidth right now. Yeah. Okay. So, like, I appreciate that Discord has Nitro, some paid service. Mm-hmm. You want more shiny things? Great. I love that it's optional. If Discord wasn't going to become public and they reached out and said, hey, guys, Discord's really popular. This is costing us a lot. We're going to charge you a one-time software fee of like up to $10 is probably what I would pay for Discord. and that's it, I would probably buy it. That's like my economic limit for Discord. If they introduce another freaking subscription service, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. I cannot anymore.
So as someone who has Nitro, because I moderate our server and I'm on Discord, if I'm awake, like, I think that's fair, right? I think it's fair that they're like the amount that you use it, right, really dictates whether or not like you get value out of it. And I agree. I think that a one-time fee would, for most of the user base, would probably be better, but I don't know. I get the wanting to leave, right? I get the wanting to go and like be done with this and move on to other projects. I guess for me, like, I understand the all right, cool, we want to get our money that we've earned after like making this thing. We're done now.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder, it's funny because this happens a lot. We talk about stories like this a decent amount over the years of doing this show. And like, has there been, I know there has, I'm just blanking because my mind is a bag of cats. Has there been a buyout of a company, like a service or something that didn't go full public, but like sold it in and this is the most wrong way of saying this, but like in an ethical way. And by that, I mean, it maintains the initial drive and reason why the thing was popular and became a staple of whatever it was, while also making the people who made it to sell it like get a decent bag for themselves and be able to dip. Like, has that happened?
I think you probably have to go back at least 15 years because that's not our economic model anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has, but not recently.
Yeah.
By any means. And I think, the golden parachute aspect of it, like that, because I saw someone in the chat mention like the transparency with the money. Yes, that's great. That's a good thing for a publicly traded company. But they don't care about that. The idea of publicly trading it is to make a whole bunch of cash and then sell it off and leave.
Yeah, there's no
top.
Yeah, there's the reason why that happens is, I mean, you get funded in so you can build out more, but all that's doing, you're no longer beholden to your users, you are beholden to the shareholders. And while the users tie into that a little bit, there's ways to make it. What the shareholders are going to do is try to pivot their user base to the most profitable user base that is, and that probably isn't going to be a lot of people that they use Discord for right now. And therefore, it'll kind of go all over the place. Sorry, Erin.
Now, when stuff gets publicly traded, we stop being customers, we start being consumers.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. And that's, I can guarantee you the patch notes are going to not be as frequent. It sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it here. I want to get off the earth. It sucks. All my toys are being taken away.
I know. You know what's interesting? Medusa says if one of these things back in the day, YouTube, maybe. When it's sold to Google, possibly. I mean, the reason we have the creator ecosystem we have right now is because it was sold to Google. I think I've told this story before. I was in the lobby of 1515 Broadway when I was working for MTV when I heard that Viacom passed on the buy for YouTube. And I think back to that day and where I am right now in my life as like a very strange like moment of like, Yeah. Because could you imagine if Viacom bought YouTube? Sure, I don't know, man. Like Zoink Scoob, it does not feel like it would be good.
Yeah.
They're my corpo daddy, so I'm pleading the fifth.
No, that's totally fine. Listen, no, but they're not though. Paramount is. Paramount bought Viacom. Like, that's fine. And I have plenty of people.
CBS.
Yeah. I have plenty of people that I know that work there at fairly decent high up stuff. I'm not saying that there's I'm saying in my time back when Viacom, God, what year was this? In the early to mid 2000s,
was gonna say, I think 05 or 4 or something.
Yeah. It was a very different landscape, and there seemed to be a few misses across the bow. And then that happened. I was like, that seems wrong, but I'm thankful that it went that way.
Yeah. The other one that a couple of people have brought up is this one that ARFL brings up, which is Mojang. Mojang's probably the closest to a but I will also say that Mojang is in a unique position because Microsoft is aware that the way to extract maximum money from Mojang is to shut up and leave them alone. They are cooking. Continue to let them cook. 300 million copies plus of Minecraft. It was 300 million copies last year. 300 million units sold. When you have that, you shut up and leave it alone.
Yeah, but I guess that is my example then, right? Because like they've said there's not going to be a Minecraft 2. Yep. Common parlance of this space would be like, oh, of course you need to make Minecraft 2. It's so popular. The movie obviously just came out. Will did an excellent episode of the podcast. Go listen to that. The only podcast about movies, wherever fine podcasts are sold. And by sold, I mean given away for free because podcasts make no money. But I don't know, that does, it feels like a juggernaut like Microsoft buying Mojang and being like, oh man, they cracked something, put it down. I mean, it feels like the Minecraft movie with Jack Black and Jason Momoa would not have happened if it was not a Microsoft property. Like, so it's elevated it in other in other elements to be able to do things, but it does feel like that might be the most, it's not ethics, it's not morals, I don't know, like original heart of whatever the product was intact after getting a bag and bailing. Like, so maybe that is it.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Yeah, that's a great answer.
Anyway, Absolutely. We'll see how this goes. I don't know.
That's the key though, is like, because that wasn't necessarily a buyout. This is going to become like a public company. This is different. CEO.
Yeah.
And yeah, the key is to not touch it. But like you said, you're fundamentally changing the structure of your company once you become public.
Yeah.
And so it's going to change. That's the nature of it.
Yep. Okay, which leads us to another thing which we've all come to expect to be terrible in 2025, which is pre-orders. Now,
should it be terrible though?
Okay, hang tight. I gotta establish our bounding box. I gotta give us a bounding box first, okay? And then I'll let you. Okay, great, awesome.
Will needing a bounding box? What?
Okay.
I'm literally in a box right now. I can't get out of anything.
You're breaking the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall. Okay, so we're going to talk about this because of the Switch 2 pre-orders, but we're not talking about the Switch 2 or its price or any of that. We're talking
For instance, tariffs? No, we're not talking about tariffs. We're done talking about tariffs this week.
We're talking about what we're talking about here is the very relevant systems in place that allow American consumers to pre-order limited merchandise, as exemplified by the Switch 2 pre-orders, right? But what we're not talking about is why that's a big problem because of the Switch 2, or we're not talking about the, scarcity scares because of the tariffs or any of that. We're just talking about the infrastructure and the methodology around pre-orders, okay? Just so everyone's on the same page. Even though there's a picture of the Switch 2, we're not talking about the Switch 2 specifically. It's just an example. Cool, great, excellent, awesome. Matt, go ahead.
So, right after Will says we're not going to talk specifically about the Switch 2, the one thing I will talk about is Nintendo. The one way that they've been doing it is a bit, on one hand, draconian, but in the other way, we'll see how it works. You can order it directly, obviously, through them, but you need to have at least at some point in your history, a 12-month history of being signed up for the Nintendo online service, whatever that's called. There's a couple other prerequisites, and that is to basically make, and I think it's one per account, through your Nintendo account. That's to hopefully ensure that scammers can't, not scammers, although yes, scalpers, thank you, the other S word, can't just buy in bulk a bunch of things. And I think that's great if you can supply the amount of supply that is going to be demanded. Right now it's a lottery, and those go out starting May 8th, I believe, to see if you've been accepted, though Nintendo has also said that some of those might not go out until well after the system's release. So that's not great. So what when it's something like a video game console that has a history, doing something like that, I think, is correct. I wish the supply was greater, but that's a different thing. But it feels like Nintendo, as the distributor here, is the only one doing something to really combat any sort of foul play, regardless of supply. But everywhere else, like the other places this is sold, Walmart, Target, Amazon, Best Buy. Newegg, Costco, GameStop. Eventually, Sam's Club. I'm trying to think.
GameStop.
What was it?
I don't think
GameStop. Sorry, the name becomes ash in my mouth. It just feels so broken. Like this is the other part. I'm gonna poo-poo on a lot of these online retailers, but we also have to remember that this isn't their only game in town. Like, they're selling an infinite amount of things. And do I wish they were ready for stuff like this? Absolutely. Does it make sense in the corporate hellscape that we live in that they're not ready for this? Absolutely. So it seems like there's no clear, like, they want to sell the thing. Obviously, they want the traffic, they want the business, but they don't want to make anything in place to make that sort of easy and or safer for actual consumers to buy it, because I truly believe they don't care. They don't
care.
Yeah.
They don't care. That's the problem. We are not customers. We are consumers. They don't care about us. If 1,000 bots buy the game, buy out their supply, they don't care. Yeah. They made the money. They are not, and that's what I like about what Nintendo did, was it's like, it actually feels like they cared about me as a consumer of Nintendo products. Like, they're like, we see you, we value you, and you're right, lots of other things, but in principle, how they're approaching it, I think, is absolutely right. And that's what irritates me. Obviously, the bots, the automation, and I'm glad you gave us this box, Will, because I think it's a box that a lot of these articles aren't talking about. There's too many other factors for them to be like, but this, and also this, and also this. And it's like, no, our system is broken with these high-end, expensive, high-demand products that bots and resellers have just taken over. That's the only seller. We cannot compete. It used to be resellers would have 8,000 tabs open and a few people on their phone, and they'd be refreshing and they'd be manually buying things, but that doesn't exist anymore. It's one piece of code that they hit enter, they buy everything within not even 30 seconds, 30 milliseconds, and we're all left to just eat dirt, and I hate it. I hate it.
So I actually I'm gonna take a step back and say that I think that part of the reason that the pre-order system in the US sucks is Black Friday. But
that was the start. Yes.
Right. What in the world do you mean by this? Black Friday is probably the most American example of American consumerism, right? There are stories going back to when I was a kid of parents dying in Walmarts over Tickle Me Elmos because they had to get a limited product and there was no system, right? There was no, now the sequel to Tickle Me Elmo, by the way, there were pre-orders and they pre-ordered at the same time that the Wii did. And I know this because my dad got pre-orders for Elmo and the Wii at the same time. And then
there was a second Elmo?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Was it called Tickle Me Elmo 2?
I don't remember. But
The Reckoning, as Jamie just yelled from the other room.
That's right. Yeah, no. So yeah, there were it sort of exemplifies the way that we do pre-orders and shopping and everything else, which is a very adversarial, right? It's non-orderly. It's very adversarial compared to Japan, right? Where standing in line is the norm. And people politely stand in line and wait their turn and have... fandom also runs deeper in Japan. I don't know if you all have noticed that, but fandom for the thing that you're a fan of runs much deeper into people's lives as a sort of bedrock of their identity. And so that also contributes to this. But I do think that the adversarial way that we do shopping as a whole, as exemplified by Black Friday, carries over to pre-orders and is one of the reasons why it's this sort of Wild West style, like who can bot fastest to get their thing, right?
Yeah, there's no respect for like the social order at all. Like it's just you see one person break the rules and people don't yell at that person. They go, oh, it's a free-for-all, so I can do that too. Like that is how our culture works, and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And it's, we don't go, that person should be shunned. We should not be doing that. That is a bad thing to do. And they shut it down quickly. They go, oh, it's open season. One person did it, now I can do it. It gives them social license to do it, which is how our society is structured.
And the anonymity of an online retailer as well. Like there's no one, the chances of someone hunting down and getting mad at or getting recompense against someone running a bunch of bots to get these and be scalpers is probably much rarer than someone cheating to get to the front of a line or doing something else in a physical space. Even though, Erin, 1,000% true what you just said about those things. Now we're just adding the anonymity of the internet to it. And it makes it much, much easier. Okay. We've outlined the problem and how this has happened recently and is still going to be happening until the Switch 2 gets released. And the why. How do we think, using our best guesses or whatever knowledge we have of this space, what is something that could be done? Like for me, for instance, I've been thinking about this for a minute, and I'll give out this idea for free because I actually think I'm trying to think about how this would make money, which is why it's a free idea. But like, could you know how like there are sort of like bridging apps like to different things? Like, could there be something where a supplier basically, I'll just use Nintendo in this example, would set a series of criteria to a third-party thing that then, hey, everyone, you buy, like Walmart, Best Buy, whatever, you are buying all of your stock through this third-party thing. And if you want to sell this, no, this isn't going to work. I was trying to think, because like after a certain amount of difficulty, big boxes would just be like, nah, we're not doing it. Like, I'm trying to think if there's a way to make that work.
I would say the biggest analogy I've seen, at least in American culture, is probably the fan convention scene.
Sure.
So like, I feel like Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con and WonderCon, they have it's still a Hunger Games, it's still an unfair practice, but at least it's not bots most of the time. You have to have a verified account, you have to stay in an online queue, and that's the problem, is that Walmart, Best Buy, none of these have the infrastructure for online queue systems like hotels and like tickets. I mean, at least like Comic-Con ticket sales. I think they're the only one I know that deals with the high demand. Everyone else, it's always hotel reservations. But they've figured that out, but it's on a scale of maybe 200,000 people trying to get a spot, maybe 500,000 at the most. Nowhere near on the scale of everyone trying to buy the Switch.
So I think there's definitely a place for big scale pre-orders of like something like that queuing app, but something that either round robins or takes the queue load off of all the websites, because that's the other problem, right? There's a huge infrastructure problem. GameStop, Best Buy, and Target, I know for a fact, all had their websites crash the moment pre-orders went live. We got 503 errors. Some of them went like down to 404s, like all of everything. Like the infrastructure just isn't there. Right? Because most of the time it's not worth it, and it's only effective, right? That like it's only necessary in those times. So instead of gearing them up, let's make a central company, right, that does the queuing, like the con queuing, except it distributes pre-orders at a fixed price to be fulfilled by companies. So you don't buy directly from any of the other places. You buy from this third-party company, and they say, here's this block that is guaranteed to sell from Best Buy. Here are the people that want to pick it up in store. Here are the ones that you need to deliver. here's all the ones that are going to GameStop. Here's all the ones that are going to Target, right? And you choose your retailer and everything else through one centralized platform that a company who is producing the product chooses to go through. I think that would do it, but there needs to be an incentive for it. And
that's the thing. The only incentive there is the price the retailer gets of the markup, like the suggested retail price that goes to the actual store. Because the value prop, and I imagine there's actually not a huge amount for these consoles that are going to these stores. What they get out of this deal is news stories and foot traffic, internet traffic, right? Like that's what they get. So if it's a third party doing it all and they're just fulfillment, still might not be worth it for them. Because they're not getting the cachet of being part of the news story or being part of the of a place you can get this thing. So maybe they'll buy other stuff there.
Here's what we should do. I have a fix.
Okay.
We're going to take it all offline. You've got to go into the brick and mortar store. You have to sign on a piece of paper that says, I'll be here at midnight. And then you get your ticket. Do we remember big book releases back in the day? You went into the store the day before it was released at midnight. You got a ticket, you gave your money, and then you got in that line and you waited. And again, nerds, I think, are a little bit better than the general public Black Friday chaos. Not always, but stores can sometimes be prepared and handle it a little bit better. I know I'm being facetious about it, but it's like,
I think it's less facetious and more wishful toward a time long gone. Like I remember skipping school for when the Dreamcast came out. I had a reservation, but I went to the mall during the day. I was very sick. And I went there and I got in the line and I did the thing and rock and roll. Those sort of felt magical, or midnight releases, etc. The PS2, or like I'm just trying to think of consoles in particular. I know you were talking about books.
It's all, yeah. I mean, I've stood in line for video games too.
But like, there's also truly an accessibility thing to be discussed there as well. But not everything works all the time. I wish the story was like, oh man, this was really difficult for like this one thing because of a technical glitch. Not like this didn't work anywhere because none of the way that we have a high demand order for something functions the way it should.
Yeah.
This is actually,
but it's also, it's not because they don't have the infrastructure because it's a lot of people. They don't have the infrastructure because it's a lot of bots. It's a lot of automated coding systems that are crashing their systems.
Sure.
So people can flood the market like that. Those are, I think, two different things. If this was all human beings trying to access a website, that's a different conversation than how do we fix the fact that they're getting pings. They're getting 20 million billion pings at 12,000,000. Like that's what's breaking the whole system.
I wonder then, like, what's the incentive for these companies to fix it? Because
there isn't any.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're still selling all their products. I'm sorry, I'm being very defeatist about it.
No, listen, there doesn't have to be an answer. Yeah. I'm trying to design my way around this thing, and it could just be, I mean, well, this is actually interesting. So Matthew S. just says this: at what point would Nintendo not just take over the direct sales? I bet you Nintendo would love to do that if they had the infrastructure like an Apple, right? But they don't, and they're much too small to do it. I was actually shocked that they were doing their own distribution. The Nintendo store and their own distribution is a relatively new thing within years, I believe. I don't think I'm trying to think, perhaps with the Switch might have been, I mean, you can all correct me when I'm wrong there, but like you didn't used to be able to go to Nintendo and buy things directly from them.
Yeah.
I think the Wii U had a store. Yeah.
Okay.
They had digital stores first, but well after the other consoles did.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they're definitely late to the game on that front.
Well, like PlayStation still as well as a thing. It's funny. If I ever need anything PlayStation, I don't buy it from retailers. I buy it from PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, that's
hey, if you think of something, you know what you can do? You can leave a comment on this video, or if you're watching this on Nebula and you're like, where's the comment thing? It doesn't, there's no button there. We have a solution for that as well. You can message us over on Blue Sky, where you basically can let us know what you think the solution for this is, because we just talked about it for 20 minutes and we can't think of it.
Okay. I am going to keep us moving because we're already over time, and we're going to go even more over time probably.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. So I've got one sweet dessert story, and then we have a tradition to uphold. So the first,
Oh no.
the first is I love this. I love this story so much. All right, so everyone knows that NFTs are a scam, right? Cool, great, always have been, always will be. They've been a scam for a gajillion years since they were incepted. They're a way to perform an old art scam where you sell art to yourself to make it look more valuable, and then you sell it to some sucker for an overinflated amount of money, and then the market crashes and it's worthless. Well, the market crashed and they're all worthless. However, it gets better. So recently, one of the iconic collections, which was originally sponsored by Nike, lost access to all of the images on the NFTs. So, as a reminder that the NFT doesn't actually include the image, it's just a pointer file at a thing, and you claim ownership because you own the NFT. Well, because they were migrating off of Cloudflare blocked the images as being hosted as high-res media from the NFTs. So the entire NFT collection went blank because the thing that we told them would happen eventually happened. And all of the crypto bros got all shocked Pikachu-faced that the thing that everyone told them was the fundamental problem with NFTs turned out to be the fundamental problem with NFTs. And I'm living for it. The amount of copium that is being circulated through crypto blogs is hilarious. I mostly found traffic for this on social media because there's nothing to talk about unless you go to crypto sites, and then they're like, well, we're migrating to like a decentralized hosting platform so you can't lose your images again. And we're like, yeah, you can. You totally can.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny. And that's just really funny to me. So reminder, NFTs are scams. Always have been scams, always will be scams. There is no ethical way to do anything with NFTs. Don't do them. They're stupid and bad. Great.
That was delightful dessert. Thank you. I needed that.
All right. And now
Erin, we do have to fulfill the pact, being the first, I think the person who has guested on this show the most, actually, at this point. We made the game last time, which was Blank or a Black Hole, which you can go, if you search Blank or a Black Hole on the extra credits site, you can see the animated version of that. It's very, very lovely. Please go check that out. This time we didn't want to do that. We want this to be a casual, like, sort of nonsense game. So we developed a game called Trek or Quest.
Oh no.
And here's what it basically is. We're going to give you the name of something, and you're going to tell us if it's an episode name of Star Trek or a quest in an MMO. Now, you don't need to tell us what season or what show of Star Trek or what MMO. We'll tell you, but that's how this game will be played, and we'll see where you land on all of this.
Right. And for clarity, I will rein it in from all MMOs ever to Final Fantasy 14, WoW, Elder Scrolls Online, and Star Trek Online. It's one of those.
Also don't think it
but
matters.
all of you,
Yeah.
But I have said about 4 times in this, not to mention previously, I don't play MMOs.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We're relying on your Star Trek knowledge.
No, I knew you
here.
knew that. I know you knew that. That's why we're doing this. Yeah, it's great. It's really to just test my knowledge of Star Trek episodes. Yeah.
And I may have spent too long on this, so it's fine.
I love it.
So let me give you some examples. This is like the starter pack. This is not a question. This is just sort of what it would be. So for instance, The Inner Light obviously is a next gen episode, season 5, episode 25, I believe. And then In the Name of the Light is a World of Warcraft quest, right? So there's similarities. They're all over the place. You'll get the gist. I'll keep score. I'll keep score. Wait, hold on. I need something to write on. Okay, here we go. Will, if you would please.
All right. First up is First Flight.
That is a Star Trek episode from Enterprise.
Indeed it is. It's
Excellent. Correct.
Enterprise Season 2, Episode 24. Matt.
All right. Next one is Far From Home.
That could be either. I'm going to guess MMO, but I'm like 70-30 on it.
So that's your final answer?
Yeah, MMO.
MMO, I'm sorry. That is an episode of Enterprise, Season 2, Episode 24.
Far From Home is Discovery, Season 3, Episode 2. One up.
Sorry. Yeah, I read the wrong thing. Yeah.
All right.
A show I worked on. Great. Thanks.
Oh, it's fine.
All right. Next up, A Matter of Tradition.
That's an MMO.
Indeed it
Correct.
is. But
Yeah.
A Matter of Honor, A Matter of Perspective, and A Matter of Time are all TNG episodes.
So that's a real good dodge you just did.
Yeah,
basically.
that one's from Final Fantasy 14 from ARR.
Okay.
Great.
Next up, A Sign of Hope.
Unless it's a disco episode, I think it's an MMO.
MMO for A Sign of Hope is correct. That is a classic WoW episode. Erin is 3-2-1 right now.
All right.
Okay. A Welcome Guest.
That's a Star Trek episode, I think. Oh, hang on. It's either... Oh. No, I'm going to go MMO.
Correct. It is an MMO. That one's from the Shadowbringers expansion of Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
Is an unwelcome guest a Star Trek episode?
I believe
I'm
it
pretty
is.
sure.
I believe it is.
I believe it. Erin, I said I spent too long on this. I literally have the list of every Trek episode ever just up on my computer.
I love it.
Okay. The next one is The Enemy Within.
Oh, that's a Star Trek episode. Please.
It's both, actually. It is.
I will give you a half point for that.
It is both. It's both a Star Trek episode and quest in the Elder Scrolls Online.
All right.
I mean, it's a good quest title. I don't blame them.
Yeah,
for
Right?
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one is one of my favorites. Oh no, I just did one. Sorry.
Yeah, you just did one. This one is A Fistful of Gorn.
That is a Star Trek episode.
Incorrect. It's a quest in Star Trek
is it
Online.
Star Trek Online? Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. You're still
That was why STO was in there. It's because I knew I could get you with one.
You're still well above par.
So good. That's so good.
Okay.
I can't be mad about that. That was brilliant.
Here we go.
Well, because they had a fistful of datas.
Correct.
Is a TNG episode.
Yes. And
God.
the episode that has the Gorn in it doesn't reference the Gorn in the title.
No, I thought there was a Lower Decks episode titled A Fistful of Gorn that was combining the two.
It would make total sense.
It would, yeah, it sounds like a Lower Decks episode. All right.
Heart of the Matter.
I'm going to go with MMO.
That is correct. That is an Elder Scrolls Online quest. You're doing great here.
All right.
I mean, I'm basically saying MMO in lieu of not a Star Trek episode.
Erin, that's the game.
Yeah. All right. Triage.
I don't think that's a Star Trek episode.
It is indeed a WoW classic quest.
Perfect.
Nice.
And now, finally, the last question. All good things.
As we must end.
I mean, it's obviously a Star Trek episode, but I'm wondering if you've got another double in there with me. Yes, it is a Star Trek episode. It's TNG. It's the finale.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're going with double or not double? That's what I need to know for
Not
a half
double.
point or a
No,
full
I'm
point.
going with just Star Trek. Yeah, just Star Trek.
It is also a Final Fantasy 14 quest.
Of course it is. Of course.
Okay, so the two halves canceling each other out. You are 6-2.
Well done,
Amazing.
Erin. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh gosh. You know, it's nice to know that like my hyper fixation does pay off sometimes.
Yeah. It was just funny. We were thinking about what we could do, and I was like, it's really funny how many MMO quests sound just like Star Trek episodes and vice versa.
This was great.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And that, dear friends, is our show for today.
Erin, thank you so much for coming back to the breakfast gaming table and gracing us with your presence. Where can folks find all of the amazing things that you do?
I can be found on all of the things. I can be found on the socials at Dr. Erin Mac, DRERINMAC on Instagram and Blue Sky. Promoting the next thing I'm doing is a short film called Long Away that is written and directed by Tilly Bridges and Susan Bridges, if any of you are familiar with them. That should be released in June-ish, but we're doing a festival run for that. But just stay tuned for fun social announcements with it, because it's a trans sci-fi film, and that feels really good to work on right now these days. Otherwise, I'm on the YouTubes. Dr. Erin Explains the Universe. You can find some old classic stuff there. And yeah, thank you for having me. I apologize for the technical glitches and stuff, but I appreciate your patience. And I suppose Matt and I can share bandwidth sometimes.
That's right. Yeah. What are friends if not people you can share bandwidth with?
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly.
Like I said before, the rest of this week is going to be a bunch of Clair Obscur. Tomorrow is more Blueprints because A, I really like Blueprints, and B, I don't want to play 4 days of Clair Obscur in 1 week. That sounds like a really great conversation to have with my therapist. And then later this week, we're also having Design Club. There is no time with me and Matt this Thursday. He is detained by matters of the universe, which require his undivided attention. So it's just Design Club on Thursday and Clair Obscur.
I'll be shopping for a new bath mat.
That's right. Yeah. And yeah, so reminder, Janet and Brad, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Rocky, it's time for us to do for you the same sign off we always do every time. Matt, would you please lead us in this communal sign off?
That's right, Erin. It hasn't changed, I think, since you were on last time. We do the same outro that we do every time on every show as a community building exercise. So I'm sure you remember what it is, right? Like everyone, we all have it. We all know it. Yeah. So if you'd all please join me.
Yeah.
We're getting it over here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Everybody, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. It's not a fossil. Not a fossil.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it.
Not a fossil.
All right. Cool. Erin, thank you so much for being here and for doing this nonsense with us. It was, as always, the highlight of my day. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. This was fun. Yeah. Always great. Brad, Janet, great seeing you all.
Yeah.
Do the thing. We're going to sign off from Janet. So Janet, we'll be back on Thursday for Design Club. You can come on over to Twitch if you want to watch gameplay.